Okay, I think I am here now. I think I know what I was doing wrong. I think I was going live on my personal page and not in the group. So hopefully you can see this, and I think you can because I see it now. So I apologize. I'm so, so sorry for the delay here. But let's get started with how to lose 10 pounds by the holidays because I want to be mindful of your time and everything. So, let me know if you're here. Let me know if you can see this. I hope you can. Um, and let's do this. Let's talk about it. All right, let me get to my slideshow here. Okay, so hello. Oops, too fast. I am Christina Brown, for those of you who don't know me. I am a mom with two teenage daughters, and I have spent the last 19 plus years in the fitness industry. I started off as a fitness instructor, and I have taught pretty much every fitness class except for yoga and Pilates and Zumba. I don't do dance classes because I can't. Um, then I got my personal training certificate, my nutrition coaching certificate, weight loss coaching certificate, went back to school, got my master's in exercise science because I love learning about this stuff. This is my absolute favorite thing, my passion. And I love helping other busy moms like me lose weight, tone up, feel confident in their bodies again. And I too have been through my own weight loss transformation. So I know how challenging it can be, especially during the holidays, which is exactly why I decided to do this webinar here because I want you to be able to enjoy the holidays without being constantly either worried about, am I ruining all my progress? Or what can I eat? What can I not eat? You don't have to give any of that stuff up, okay? And you can still enjoy the holidays while staying on track with your goals. All right, so what we're going to learn today, I'm going to teach you some simple strategies. I am all about simple, okay? And simple is really what works. When things get too complex, it's not really possible to keep doing them, right? You know, it gets overwhelming. So everything that you're going to learn today is very, very simple. And I will help you create a sustainable holiday weight loss plan. I will share with you the key habits to focus on. Again, the word overwhelming comes to mind here. There's so much noise out there about weight loss, and it's hard to really know what exactly you should be focusing on because there's so many different things that you hear about. One day, you hear this is the best thing to do. 2 days later, it's something completely different. So I'm going to help you figure out what those key habits are. I will help you learn how to balance enjoying the season while also staying on track. So it's all about balance. Okay. You're going to be able to enjoy your favorite holiday treats guilt free while still losing weight. I will help you create a flexible plan that fits your lifestyle. I'll share with you that secret to losing 10 pounds by Christmas. I will share with you tips on how to navigate holiday gatherings, which oftentimes is one of the things that really throws us off track. Holiday gatherings or gatherings of any type are challenging. So, these tips that I share with you for holiday gatherings, you can use for any type of social gathering all year long. Tools to stay motivated during the busy holiday season. And finally, some mindset shifts that will help you reduce the stress, overcome those temptations without feeling like you are not able to enjoy yourself during the holidays. All right. As we are going through this, please don't hesitate to drop comments down. Okay, and I'm seeing them now too. So awesome. Lori and Jenna can see it. Perfect. So please drop any questions as we're going, and I will periodically take a look at those and answer them. And then we'll also have some time at the end for Q&A if anything pops up that you have some questions about. All right, so let's get on with it. I'd love to hear from you first about what are some challenges that you personally face during the holidays. Okay, what to you is the biggest challenge? Is it some of the things that we mentioned on this page here? Or is it something else? Feel free to drop those in there and we can definitely chat about those throughout the presentation. So here are some things that I often hear from other moms about the holidays. Okay. Many people worry about overeating at holiday gatherings because there are so many food options, right? When you go to a holiday gathering, it's not just like your regular, Tuesday night dinner. There's so many food options and so many dessert options and so many appetizer options, and it's very easy to overeat at a gathering. Lack of time is another big one. Holiday schedules get really packed, especially as a mom. Our kids have holiday programs at school, they have sports, and then we're going to add on the parties at school, family parties, other social gatherings with neighbors and friends. And it's just a lot packed into just about a month's time. The temptation for those holiday treats that we only get one time a year. Okay, I'm sure all of us have one holiday treat that you crave all year long that you only get during the holidays. And once you see it, it's really hard not to go all in because in your head, you're not going to have this again until next year. So it's like, oh, I want to eat as much of it as I can because I won't have my mom's famous sugar cookies until next year. Okay. Another challenge is skipping meals. All right. A lot of people end up skipping meals in order to save calories for big dinners. But that actually has the opposite effect, and that leads to overeating later. And we'll chat a little bit more about that in a bit. Stress eating. All right. The holidays are stressful. They're probably one of the most stressful times of the year, right? So, stress eating is a big one. Okay. Probably the hardest time of the year to deal with stress eating, especially if you stress eat, all year long, which many of us do. It just compounds during the holidays because it is so much more stressful. Decreased motivation to stick to a routine. All right, motivation tanks during this time of year, especially once it starts getting cold. And then in your head, you're thinking, oh, I've got all these things, holidays, and I'm just going to totally give up, right? Peer pressure. Okay, from friends and family, either at those social gatherings or to go out and do things instead of your workout. Like, hey, let's go holiday, Christmas shopping and stop and get some, peppermint mocha at Starbucks on the way. And you don't need to work out. Let's do this instead, type of thing. Peer pressure is not just for teenagers. That busy social calendar making it harder to not just exercise, but also to plan and prepare healthy meals. Traveling. Many people travel during the holidays. You're not home. And when you're not home, you have a lot less control over the foods that you have access to. And you're off your routine, you're off your exercise routine. You're not, you don't have your dumbbells with you. So traveling can really disrupt a lot. And then finally, feeling guilty for enjoying favorite holiday foods. Okay. And when we feel guilty, that leads to a really vicious cycle. So I'm going to help you find ways to no longer feel guilty about enjoying something that you absolutely love. Okay. All right. So, oh, no problem, Jessica. You'll definitely have access to the replay. I know it's a busy time of day. Alrighty. So, the good news is that despite all those struggles, you can lose weight during the holidays. It is 100% possible. So, let's talk a little bit about some holiday weight gain myths. Oftentimes we hear, something along the lines of you're going to gain 5 to 10 pounds over the holidays. You'll hear people say, oh, the average holiday weight gain from Thanksgiving until New Year's is 7 pounds, things like that. That's not true. Most people only gain 1 to 2 pounds during the holidays. Okay. The problem is, though, that many times those pounds kind of stick around because of the unhealthy habits that end up being formed during the holidays. And sometimes if we let those unhealthy habits stick with us all throughout the year, or maybe all throughout the winter, because it's cold and we want to be comforted by comfort food, right? That's when it becomes a problem. But in reality, most people only gain 1 to 2 pounds of weight during the holidays. Another myth is that you have to avoid all treats in order to stay on track. And that is 100% false, right? It's all about balance. Anytime you restrict yourself, you set yourself up for failure. Okay, and we'll talk about this restriction cycle later, but you can 100% enjoy your favorite treats in moderation. Okay, and you're not going to ruin any of your progress. And finally, the holidays are the worst time to lose weight. And again, that is not true either. All right, I don't know what is going on here, but it looks like my video is going backwards. Maybe. I don't know what's happening here. All right, hopefully it will catch up. Um, Holidays are not the worst time to lose weight. And in fact, if you can prove to yourself that you are able to lose weight during the holidays, the most crazy time of the year, then you can lose weight anytime, right? So this is my challenge to you. Prove to yourself that you can lose weight during the holidays. And with these strategies that I'm going to share with you, you will be able to, okay? And we're going to focus on progress, not perfection. Okay, so holidays, in my opinion, are actually the best time to lose weight because you prove something to yourself. If you can do it during the holidays, you can do it anytime. All right, so it's not about being perfect. I want us to take that word perfect out of our vocabulary. It's about making better choices more often than not. Okay, so it's not about making better choices all the time, 100% of the time. It's about making better choices more often than not. Okay? Take a picture of this, put it as the background on your phone, print it up, put it somewhere where you can see. Because so many of us are so focused on being perfect that oftentimes we give up because we're not being perfect. And there is no such thing as perfect. All right. Yes, no problem, Lori. The whole replay will be available to you. And yeah, I get it. If you're at work, it's hard to, you know, sneak and watch something that's not work related. All right. So let's talk about strategy number one, creating a sustainable holiday weight loss plan. The key word there is sustainable. Okay. We want to be able to keep this going. All right. We don't want to make it so hard that we give up because we're not being perfect. All right. So, main key thing with that is to set realistic goals. So, here are two different goals that you could set. Okay. On the left, the goal is to lose 10 pounds by Christmas. So, there's approximately 9 weeks until Christmas Eve, which equates to about losing 1 pound, a little bit more than a pound per week. Okay, and in order to do that, 1 pound is equal to about 3,500 calories. So you would have to eat in a 3,500 calorie deficit per week, which means you'd have to eat 3,500 fewer calories during the week than your maintenance calories. Okay, which equates to 3,500 divided by 7 days, 500 calorie deficit per day. So if your maintenance calories, so maintenance calories are the amount of calories that you eat in order to maintain your weight. So let's say that is 2,400 calories. Put yourself in a 500 calorie deficit. That's about 1,900 calories a day. Okay, maybe your maintenance calories is 2,000 calories per day. Put yourself in a 500 calorie deficit and you're eating 1,500 calories a day. All right. However, if we try to go extreme and say we want to lose 25 pounds by Christmas, that's just under 3 pounds of weight loss per week. Okay. Which equates to a 9,000 plus calorie deficit per week, which equates to 1,375 calorie deficit per day. So let's see if I can do this math in my head. If your maintenance calories is 2,000 calories per day and you have to eat in a 1375 deficit, you are eating 625 calories a day. Okay. If you only want to lose 10 pounds before Christmas, you're eating 1,500 calories. Way easier than eating, I don't know anybody who can survive on 625 calories a day. All right. And even if your maintenance is 2,400 calories per day, if you're eating in a 1375 deficit, that's still just 1,025 calories per day. That is not enough. Okay. That is not sustainable. Okay. So that's what I mean by sustainable. We have to set realistic goals. Eating 1,000 calories a day is not sustainable. Eating 1,500 calories a day, yeah, definitely sustainable. That's 50% more calories than if you were trying to lose 25 pounds by Christmas. Okay, so set a sustainable, realistic goal. Okay, even if it's 5 pounds by Christmas, that's still not a bad thing, right? So think about that. Think about what your goal is going to be, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here. Now, in order to hit that goal, let's focus on those key habits. So these are the main things that you need to work on, okay? Just 5 here. 5 key things to focus on, not a million key things to focus on, right? These are the main things that are going to move the needle. Number 1 is to walk at least 7,000 steps a day. This will get more challenging if you live in a colder climate like I do. In the winter, it is much harder to be able to get your steps in because you're not necessarily wanting to walk outside all the time. But it is one of the best things you can do. So focus on walking at least 7,000 steps a day. Number 2, strength train 2 to 3 times per week. You don't have to exercise every single day of the week. You don't have to exercise for an hour every single time you exercise. Okay? Strength train 2 to 3 times per week, and that's it. And then focus on walking at least 7,000 steps a day. That's all you have to do for exercise. Okay? Let's talk about nutrition a little bit. Really focusing on eating 25 grams of protein at every meal is a huge, huge mover of the needle. Okay? This includes your snacks. So if you eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack every day, focus on eating 25 grams of protein at each one of those. Okay? Sleep is another key piece of weight loss. Okay? It does make a big, big difference. If you struggle with sleep and you're struggling to lose weight, that might be the reason why. When we don't get enough sleep, it drains us of our energy, of course, but also it allows us to have cravings a lot more than we typically would. Okay? And it's much harder to say no to those cravings when we don't have enough sleep. Okay, so aim to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. I know, Lori, I get it. It can be very, very challenging, but if that is your biggest challenge, then that is the one thing I would say to really hone in on and figure out what you can do in order to try to improve your sleep. Okay. And finally, eat in a moderate calorie deficit, just like we said before, maybe 500 calories per day deficit, not 1,000 calorie per day deficit. Okay. Okay, Rebecca says she can get 7 hours, but is it good sleep? Not usually. See, that is the other piece of it, is that you want to make sure that your sleep is quality sleep. So things to work on, and I feel like this might be another training I can do all about sleep, because I do, I'm gonna actually write that down right now. Because it does make a big difference and it's a hard thing to do. So be on the lookout for another training that will be all about how to improve the length of your sleep and the quality of your sleep. All right. So take a picture of this slide, take a screenshot. These are the things you need to focus on from now through the holidays and after, but we're just going to focus on from now through the holidays. All right, strategy number 2, how to enjoy your favorite treats without feeling guilty. Okay. I want to remove the food police from your head. The food police is that noise in your head that tells you that food is good, that food is bad. You're a bad person for eating that food. Right? We're going to get rid of them. And we're not going to feel guilty about anything that we eat because then that gives food a lot of power over us. And food doesn't deserve that power over us. All right. So, in order to do that, we need to be a little bit more mindful when we are eating. Okay. So, one thing that you can do to be more mindful is to eat slowly and really savor your food. I don't know about you, but I personally am a fast eater. And a lot of times I'll finish eating something and realize, like, I didn't even taste how good it tasted, right? Or somebody will ask me, like, oh, what spice did you taste in there? And I'll be like, I have no clue. I just chewed it and swallowed it, right? Taking time to enjoy every bite does help you feel more satisfied with less food. Okay? And it also has other benefits too. But really focusing in on the smell of the food, the texture, the taste, especially for those foods that you only get around the holidays. Okay? And if there's something that you really, really enjoy, savor them while you're eating them. Okay? Get the most bang for your buck out of that food. Listen to your hunger cues. Okay, this is a big one, and a lot of us have kind of lost the ability to tell if we're hungry or not because we've been dieting for a really, really long time. Okay, we want to make sure that we are eating when we are hungry and we are stopping when we're satisfied. And slowing down our eating helps with this a lot because it takes about 15 minutes for our stomach to signal our brain that we are full. So if you're eating very quickly, by the time your brain gets the message that you're full, you're already over full. You're stuffed at that point. Okay. So this is especially true when we are sitting down for a big holiday meal, like a Thanksgiving type meal. Okay. How many of you typically walk away from the table feeling gross and overstuffed? Okay. If that's you this year, focus on eating slowly, savoring each bite that you are taking, okay, and allowing your stomach time to signal to your brain that you are full so you don't get to that overstuffed. Okay. I have this funny story I tell. My cousin, one of my cousins, is 10 years younger than me, and this happened maybe, I don't know, he was in his 20s at the time. And he had a bet. We leave it to men, right? He had a bet with one of his friends as to who would gain the most weight Thanksgiving, during the Thanksgiving meal. So they each weighed themselves beforehand, took a picture, sent it to each other, ate their meals, and then weighed themselves right afterwards. And in my head at the time, I was like, well, you're not going to gain that much weight from just like one meal. Oh, no, no, no. I was wrong. He gained 8 pounds during that meal. Now, that 8 pounds didn't stick with him, right? By the next day, he was back down to his regular weight. But just kind of goes to show that the scale doesn't always tell the whole story. So that's why I don't really like the scale so much because that was just because he had just eaten. Okay, so think of that next time you weigh yourself. And if you had just had a big meal, that might be why the number on the scale has gone up. But he obviously was not stopping when he was satisfied. He kept eating in order to have gained that 8 pounds. But um, um, thinking about this year will make a big, big difference. People might look at you kind of funny if they're used to seeing you eating quickly. Just talk more, drink more water, put your fork down between every bite. Okay, that slows you down right then and there. Put your fork down and take a sip of water between every single bite. Okay, the water will help you stay full and it will slow you down as well. Okay. Pause halfway through your meal. Okay. So just, kind of eyeball your plate when you start. And then when you're about halfway through eating the food on your plate, pause and check in with yourself to see how full you really are. Okay. If you're full, you do not have to finish eating. Okay. I don't know again about you, but with me, I grew up being told I had to clean my plate. And that is a habit that has stuck with me. And it's hard to leave food on my plate. And there are some times when my daughters leave a ton of food on their plate and I want, like, I catch myself and tell myself I can't say something because they're actually listening to their hunger cues. They're actually stopping when they're full. And that's something that I really struggle with. So I have to, like, it's ingrained in me that, like, your plate needs to be cleaned. There's starving people who in this world who would love the food that you're eating, all that stuff that we heard growing up. Um, and I am so grateful that my daughters are kind of showing me that, like, it's okay to leave food on your plate. And I just have to bite my tongue and not, do to them what, was done to me when I was growing up, right? So pause and double check. Also, avoid distracted eating. And this goes for all of these strategies, not just during, big holiday meals, but for all meals. Focus on your meal. Don't be scrolling through your phone. Don't be watching TV, okay? Focus on the meal and savor your food. That will slow you down a lot. Um, yes, love that, Rebecca. Asking your daughter if her tummy is full. Yeah, instead of telling her to eat all her food. That's wonderful because you are teaching her to listen to her body. And that is a huge, huge benefit to be able to do that. Managing emotional eating. Okay, we talked a little about emotional eating before. In order to manage emotional eating, we have to be able to recognize the triggers that make us go for food. All right. Once you recognize the triggers, then you have to be mindful. And when you find that you're being triggered, finding a non food way to cope. Okay, like taking a walk or talking with a friend, taking a bath, reading a book, drinking a glass of water. I would recommend creating a list of items that you can do to cope with emotional triggers that don't relate to food, and have that list somewhere in your kitchen on a post-it note. Okay. And then that way, when you are dealing with that emotional trigger, you don't have to think about, like, oh, okay, what should I do? Well, how else can I cope? Because your brain's not able to do that at that point. But if you have a list already there of maybe 4 or 5 things that you could do instead, you can just quickly pick one and do that instead. Okay. All right. We also want to make sure that we indulge in moderation. So I always um, uh, prescribe the 80-20 rule. Okay. 80% of the time, I want you to eat nutrient dense foods, foods that fit what your goal is. And then the other 20% of the time, enjoy your treats. Food is for nourishment, but food is also for enjoyment. And if we don't allow ourselves that 20% to enjoy the treats, then we feel deprived, and then we feel, it just keeps eating at us, and eventually we break and we eat a lot more than just 20% treats, right? So 80-20 rule. Okay, a lot of ways you can look at it this, each meal, 80% of your meal is full of nutrient dense foods, and then 20% of your meal is treats. Or it could be 80% of your calories in one day. All right, you can figure out what 20% of your calories would be and use that amount as your treat calories. Okay, or you could do it for the week. Okay, lots of ways to go about doing that, but allow yourself those treats. It is okay to indulge in moderation. It is okay to love the taste of food. It is okay to love food, right? It is okay to do that. All right. Oh, good. Danielle practices that too. Yes. I love that this is talked about so much more nowadays than it was when our parents, were raising us. And I'm hoping that our children can be just much smarter about eating and being healthy than we are. Also, do not ban foods. Okay? Banning foods backfires and it leads to guilt. So here's a little cycle of what happens. Okay, if you ban cookies, if I tell you you can never have another cookie ever again, what's going to happen? You are going to crave cookies. And you're going to crave cookies all the time. And you're going to think about cookies all the time. And you're going to feel deprived. And eventually, you're going to break and you're going to binge on those cookies. And then you're going to feel horrible. Okay? Instead of banning cookies, if you allow yourself one or two cookies, this doesn't happen. And you end up eating one or two cookies instead of binging 20 cookies or a whole sleeve of cookies. Okay? So don't ban any food. Banning foods gives the food power over you. And that is what often leads to failure when trying to lose weight. All foods are allowed. Okay? I tell my clients all the time, all foods are allowed. Okay? As long as you're following that 80-20 rule, you don't have to give up anything. All right, strategy number 3. Okay, look, this is navigating those holiday gatherings without sacrificing your progress. And again, this applies to gatherings all year long, not just during the holidays. All right, so here are some tips for attending parties. Eat a healthy snack beforehand. Okay, eat something, small, balanced snack like veggies or protein. Okay, that will help curb your hunger before arriving. If you decide to not eat anything all day because you're going to be going to this party and you're going to be eating a lot, that is also going to backfire. Okay? Because you are going to be so hungry by the time you get to that party that you're not going to have the brain capacity to make smart choices. Okay? However, if you eat normally and eat, balanced meals throughout the day leading up to the party, you're not going to be crazy hungry when you get there, and your brain will have the capacity to make good decisions. Okay. Another one, I love this one. Somebody shared this with me years ago at one of a fitness class I was teaching, and I thought this was like the smartest idea ever. She said she always brings a dish to share, even if she's not asked to. Okay. And then you have the control, and you can make something healthy so that there's going to be at least one healthy option available to you. Okay? Because again, we don't have much control when we go to somebody else's house as to what they're making and how they're making the food. But if we bring one dish that's healthy that we know fits into our goals, then we know we can at least eat that, right? So that is one of my most favorite tips I've ever heard. Another one is to look at all of your options before you fill your plate. Okay? Take a look at everything and choose wisely. And as you're choosing, think to yourself, okay, is this going to be part of my 80% of healthy, nutritious foods, or is this going to be part of my 20% of fun foods? Okay, but survey all the foods before you fill your plate. Otherwise, you end up putting probably a lot more on your plate than you typically would have if you don't see something that you absolutely love until several dishes down the table, and then you would have swapped a different dish for it had you known, type of thing. So look at everything first. Give it a scan. Sticking to a smaller plate helps a lot too, because it can help with that portion control. So, you don't always have the option of your plate size when you go to a party, but if you do, pick the smaller plate. Same thing as if you go to a buffet type restaurant, pick the smaller plate. Even at home, use your smaller plates. Okay? It helps a lot. Watch out for your liquid calories. Okay, this is a big one at parties. You know, oftentimes there are cocktails, and even if you don't drink alcohol, there's often soda and sugary drinks. So do your best to stick with water or alternate drinks with water. Okay, in between each glass of wine, have a glass of water. It will slow you down, so you'll drink fewer calorie, rich drinks. And it will help with a hangover the next day because you will be hydrated instead of dehydrated. So it's a double positive with that one. And I also recommend to go into a party already having decided how many alcoholic beverages you're going to drink. Okay? Don't make that decision while you're there. Make that decision before you go. Okay? And stick to that. Hold yourself to that decision. Okay? It makes it much, much easier if you've already decided than if you just go in there thinking, I'll drink whatever much I want. And then sometimes that can get totally out of control. And instead of having 2 glasses of wine, you have 2 bottles of wine. and But if you walked into the party saying, "I'm only going to have 2 glasses of wine," you will, first of all, be a little bit more picky about which wine that you're drinking. And you've already made that decision. You don't have to decide again. Choose your indulgences. Okay. Enjoy those favorite holiday treats, but limit yourself to just one or two. So, again, if you're looking at the dessert table, take a look at all of it before you decide which desserts you're going to have. Okay. I call this our worth it treats. Okay. Look at the food, and I have a sweet tooth, so I'm going to be talking about the dessert table, but this goes for the regular dinner table as well. um, Pick the foods that you wouldn't be able to get anytime, right? So if there's vanilla ice cream and you have vanilla ice cream in your freezer most of the time, don't eat the vanilla ice cream. Okay. But if Aunt Sally's famous pumpkin pie is on the table and she only makes her famous pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving, then yeah, absolutely have that. That's a worth it treat because you only get it at this time of year. Okay. So choose your indulgences, stay active. Okay. So, you know, days of a party, can be a little hectic, but do your best to get your steps in or a workout in earlier in the day to kind of help balance any of those extra calories. Um, let's see, Angela says, it's hard for me to get my steps in because we live by the highway. Walk around your house. That's what my neighbors probably think I'm crazy, but I will walk around my house. I don't have a very big house, but I have this little path that I take that takes me through the living room, dining room, kitchen, up the stairs, into my bedroom, into my daughter's bedrooms, and then back down the stairs, and I just keep walking. Or there are those walking pads that they sell all over the place now, and they're actually um, quite reasonable. A lot of times you can find them for under $100. And while you're watching TV, you could just roll out that walking pad and just walk on it. It doesn't have to be a fast walk, but all of those steps add up and they count. And then focus on the people, not just the food. So holiday gatherings are more than just about the food. So, engage in conversations. If you're talking, it's hard to be eating. All right. And, make the party more about the experience than just about the eating that you're going to be doing there. Okay. Yes, Danielle, they do keep going on sale. Yeah, and I've seen them on TikTok too. Yep. So keep your eyes peeled for those. Um, and actually, I'll give you guys a little insider tip. I might possibly be doing a little giveaway in this group in December, and a walking pad might be part of the giveaway. So keep your eyes peeled for that. All right. So if you struggle with social pressure, so if my family is Ukrainian, and I think it's like an Eastern European thing where, if somebody comes to your house, you feed them and you keep telling them that they have to eat because you feel bad if they're not eating. Okay, that is my family. And it's sometimes challenging to deal with that social pressure. So if you have any, family friends that, kind of force you to eat or force you to drink, a couple of things you can do. You can politely decline, but with confidence. So don't be like, oh, well, I really shouldn't. That doesn't sound very confident. It's not, you're making it sound like they can bowl you over and tell you to eat something, right? But just saying, no, thank you, I'm good. Okay. Might be all you have to say. Okay. But be confident in what you're saying. Um, Offer a alternative. Okay, if somebody keeps insisting that they're going to get you some more food or another drink, shift the conversation somehow, right? Say, I'm all set, but let's go chat with this person or do this, fun activity instead. Okay, so offer an alternative, so then it kind of puts it back on them. And then this is a really, really good one, especially if you're trying to limit how much you're drinking. Keep a drink in your hand and keep it full. Okay, so hold a water or sparkling water. And if you're holding a full glass, people aren't going to be offering you alcohol all the time, right? And they also won't be able to offer you a lot of food all the time, because if you've already got one hand holding a glass, you're not going to be able to hold food as well, right? So hold a glass of water or something in your hand at all times. All right, strategy number 4, keep your motivation high. This is a tough one, right? Okay, but there's a thing about motivation that I want to explain first. Action precedes motivation. So if we wait for motivation to strike and before we start doing something, we're going to be waiting a very, very long time. We have to take action first. Okay? And then comes the motivation. Motivation doesn't come first. So basically what happens is action leads to a result, which then leads to motivation. Okay? So what are some actions that you can take? Some actions that involve daily accountability are things like tracking your steps, tracking your workouts, tracking your food. Okay? Gives you that accountability. It's an action that brings you closer to your goals, right? So if you track your food and you notice that, oh gosh, I'm feeling a lot better. I have a lot more energy when I'm, eating 25 grams of protein at every meal. That is a result, a positive result that leads to more motivation to keep eating 25 grams of protein at every meal, right? Another action is to build a support system. Find some accountability through a friend or a family member or a coach. Okay? If you have a set accountability partner, okay, you are 95% more likely to reach your goal. Okay? If you simply state that you have a goal, if you simply state, I want to lose 10 pounds, you have about 5% chance of hitting that goal. Okay? But if you state your goal and you have a set accountability partner that you meet with, you are 95% more likely to hit your goal. So I'll take those odds any day, right? And then another action is to set mini goals. So a lot of times we set these big overarching goals, and it takes a while. Like if you want to lose 10 pounds before Christmas, well, that's 9 weeks away. So if we have to wait 9 weeks in order to see a result, motivation can wane. Okay, so set some mini goals. Things like, all right, 7 days in a row of hitting your step goal. And if you hit your step goal 7 days in a row, you're going to reward yourself with something. You're going to celebrate that win. Just don't reward yourself with food. Another mini goal would be, doing 3 workouts per week for 4 weeks. Or, excuse me, I had to go grab a drink of water. Or eating 25 grams of protein every meal for an entire week. Set those mini goals and celebrate them. Reward yourself with something, okay? Just not food. I have to say that again. Rebecca says, the perfect time to do something never comes. 100% true. And this goes for everything in life, right? How many times do people say, oh, we're going to, I'm going to wait until the perfect time to have kids. There is no perfect time to have kids, or I'm going to wait for the perfect time to get married, or I'm going to wait for the perfect. No, there is no perfect time. Now is the perfect time. All right. So we want to enjoy the season while staying on track. So a couple last few tips here on how to enjoy the season while staying on tracks. Number one, shift your focus. Okay. Shift your focus from food to fun. Find non-food ways to celebrate. Okay, go look at go drive around and look at Christmas lights or the Christmas windows at Macy's. I don't even know if they still do that. um, go to a Christmas tree lighting. Go snowboarding, go sledding, go snow tubing. There's so many, go ice skating, so many ways to celebrate without it being related to food. And then also be active. Just continue being active. It does get harder as it gets colder out, yes, but you will feel so much better if you stay active. And there are a lot of, winter activities you can do too. Avoid the all or nothing mindset. This is something that so many of us, women especially, do. We have this all or nothing mindset. Either we're going to do it all and we're going to do it perfectly, or we're going to do nothing at all. Instead, I want you to focus on progress, not perfection, because again, there's no such thing as perfect. So instead of striving for a perfect day of eating or a perfect day of exercising, celebrate the small little wins, like choosing a healthier option or fitting in a short walk in a busy day, right? Celebrate those wins. Those all add up. You don't have to be doing everything perfectly in order for it to, give you results. Okay? You will still see results, okay, when you do small things, take those small actions. Okay? Allow for flexibility. A big part of the all or nothing mindset is the lack of flexibility. And we think we have to be perfect, but we don't. And it's okay to indulge occasionally. One treat or one skipped workout does not mean that your entire plan is ruined. I see so many women who tell me, well, I totally fell off the wagon this past weekend and I ate so much and I feel so bad and I'm just going to give up. It's just one weekend. It's okay. It happens. Give yourself grace and then just get right back on track with your next choice. Okay? And this is a reminder I want you to remember. You're only one workout or one healthy meal away from being back on track. You don't have to wait until Monday to start. Okay? You don't have to wait until January 1st to start to get back on track. Okay? You can do it with your very next meal or your very next workout. Okay? Do not hit the pause button. Okay? A lot of times people, when they feel like they're not being perfect, they hit pause on their goals and on their actions that they were taking towards their goals. And it takes a while for them to hit play again. Okay? So don't hit the pause button. Just get right back on track as soon as you can. And then again, set realistic expectations. Okay? Acknowledge that the holidays are busy. Not every day is going to be perfect. No day is going to be perfect. Okay? Plan for balance. Okay? And keep the momentum going with that balance. All right, so let's create your own personal holiday weight loss plan. Step one is to set a realistic goal. Realistic, right? Okay, losing 10 pounds is realistic. Losing 25 pounds by Christmas is not. Okay, make your goal specific. Okay, so give a number. Make it sure it's achievable. And make it measurable. Okay, your goal does not have to be related to the number on the scale. It could be related to inches lost. It could be related to your cholesterol numbers, or some other health, marker. Okay, but make it specific, achievable, realistic, and measurable. A SMART goal. And give yourself grace. if your progress is slower than you expected it to be. Okay, it's okay. The season is busy. So give yourself grace. Okay, step two, I want you to take a look at your schedule. Okay, so maybe you may not have much on your schedule yet for the holidays, but soon you will. And once your calendar starts filling up with holiday parties, family gatherings, and other commitments, plan ahead. Okay, look at the calendar and plan ahead for those indulgent meals. Plan your workouts. I highly recommend just printing up a calendar for December, putting in there all of those parties, gatherings, things, right? And noticing how many meals out of the month of December are not under your control. Okay. So if you eat 3 meals a day, and there's 31 days in December, that means there's 93 meals that you're eating in the month of December. How many of those meals are out of your control? Maybe 5, maybe 9. Let's say 9. Let's say 9 of those meals are out of your control. That's only 10% of the month, right? So keep that in mind too. Okay? It kind of makes things, when you change the way you're looking at it, it makes it a little bit more doable. Step number 3, prioritize those key habits. Okay, so remember those habits I shared with you? Choose 3 to 4 of them. Okay, and focus on those. You don't have to focus on all 5 of them. Just choose a couple. Okay, and make sure that they're ones that you can easily stick with, even during the most hectic of times, because that you will give yourself those wins that you can celebrate by proving to yourself that you can stick to these goals. Okay, so figure out which of those key habits you really want to focus on between now and Christmas. Step 4 is to create a flexible meal plan. Plan your meals around the events. Okay. Make sure you allow room, that 20%, right, for your favorite holiday treats, but then focus the other 80% on those healthy, nutrient dense, high protein meals. Okay. And don't be too restrictive. So what I do each Friday, I sit down and I take a look at my week ahead. And I will look and see, what, holiday gatherings and events will I have to go to. And let's say I have one on Wednesday night and one on Saturday night. So then I will ensure that the other meals I have throughout the week are going to be nutrient dense, high protein. I will ensure that I am prepared for those meals. So I'll have my grocery list ready. And then I will ensure that on those days that I have those gatherings, I still have healthy, protein rich snacks that I can eat during the day leading up to the party so that I'm not going into the party starving. Step 5, build an exercise routine. Again, you only really need to work out 2 to 3. Here it says 3 to 4. I don't know why I put that in there, because really just 2 to 3 workouts per week is all you need, even if they're short. Maybe I was thinking if they're short, maybe you'd want 4 workouts per week. But again, aim for consistency, not perfection. So plan those workouts. Put the workouts into your calendar, okay? Into that December calendar that you printed out each week. Write in the days that you will work out. Write in the time that you're going to work out, okay? And aim to be as consistent with your workouts as you can. Some weeks will be busier than others, like the week between Christmas and New Year, maybe a wash, and that's okay. All right, as long as you were consistent the other weeks of December, it's okay if one week is a little bit off with your workouts, right? And just ensure that you're incorporating a lot of walking and a lot of movement during the days that you're not working out. Okay, keep your body moving. And then finally, track your progress. Keeping track of your progress allows you to stay motivated. Okay? Because if we're not mindful of our progress, then we're not noticing like the good things that are happening in our body. And those good things might be things other than just the number on the scale. Okay? It could be your energy levels. It could be your sleep. Maybe your sleep is improving. It could be your stress levels. It could be inches lost. It could be so many things. It doesn't have to be the number on the scale, but track your progress and track all of those wins that you feel as you're going through your weight loss, right? I highly recommend using a food diary to track your meals, track your workouts. Okay, this helps a ton with accountability. One of the best things you can do is track your food in an app like MyFitnessPal. It is a super easy way to keep yourself accountable because much of the time, if you know you're going to have to input the handful of chips that you finished off your kid's plate into the app, you're just not going to do it. Okay, so it holds you accountable in ways that you don't even think about much of the time. So track your food, track your workouts, track the amount of weight that you're lifting, all of that kind of stuff. Look at the progress, and that helps you stay motivated. All right, so quick little recap. We talked about creating sustainable habits. So pick 3 to 4 of them to really focus on between now and the holidays. Enjoy those treats guilt free. Okay. Focus on moderation, 80/20. And don't feel guilty if you go overboard. Know that you're just one workout or one healthy meal away from being back on track. Okay. Food is there to nourish you, and food is there to enjoy. Food is not there to make you feel guilty. Okay. We talked about staying motivated. So action precedes motivation. Take those small actions. And we talked about how to navigate the gatherings with confidence. Okay. And use those tips for all gatherings that you go to. And start implementing now. Don't wait for January 1st. You are not more likely to lose weight if you wait until January 1st. The majority of people who start a health journey or a weight loss journey on January 1st don't lose weight. Start now. Why waste 2 months if you can start 2 months earlier and have 2 months worth of progress by the time you hit January 1st? Imagine being halfway or a quarter of the way towards your weight loss goal by January 1st and not having to start at the very beginning on January 1st. Like that would be amazing, wouldn't it? So start now. All right. And to help you start now, I do have a healthy holiday recipes book that I would love to share with you. So if you're interested in it, just comment recipes and I will send it over to you. There's appetizers in there, side dishes, main dishes, desserts. And it could be maybe something that you bring to a holiday gathering so that you know that there's that one, at least one healthy option available to you. So if you are interested, go ahead and just comment recipes and I'll send it over to you. And I want you to know it is possible to both enjoy the holidays and lose weight at the same time. You don't have to pick one or the other. You can do both. And I have all of the faith in you that you can do it. Okay. So I thank you for joining me. I'm sorry I went a little late and I'm sorry that technical issues had me at the beginning. But if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. And, if you think of a question later on, feel free to, drop it in the comments as well. And I'll, periodically check and make sure that I have answered any questions that you have. And I'll just wait a couple minutes here to see if anybody drops questions. But I hope this at least has given you some motivation to move forward with your health goals, even during the holiday season. Don't use that as an excuse as to why you're not going to, focus on it right now. Okay? Make that your motivation to prove to yourself that you can do this during the holidays, so that you prove to yourself you can do it any time of year. All right. Well, I thank you all